Hey guys, welcome back to Jam. So we had David Seven, photographer this morning. Hope you enjoyed that. Thought he was really insightful. Switching it up, we're going to be talking about games next. So obviously most of you will recognise Paddy, our course leader for games. But I'm also going to be introducing Q and Katherine. So Q Chan is a concept artist currently working in the game industry. With a background in multiple creative disciplines, she began her career as a 2D artist before moving into concept art 3 years ago. Katherine is a junior gameplay animator at Dambuster Studios. So her background is in 2D animation and illustration, where she created a number of short animated films, but she's now re-specialised in 3D animation and has been working in the games industry for coming up on a year. Thanks so much for coming in today, guys. So I think we're going to start by having a little look at your showreel, Katherine.
Great. I was out of my skin just looking at them. I was heaving. I couldn't take that evil out of them.
Some cracking stuff there. Thanks so much, Katherine.
Thank you.
Slightly awkward of just sort of
You're just
sitting there staring at it. Amazing work.
Watching.
So we'll absolutely come back to that in a little bit. But Q, if you want to just talk us a little bit through what you do as well with your creative journey,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
sure. Yeah. So I didn't start studying in game, and I wasn't even a gamer. I studied creative media, and this is actually my graduation work. It's animations. I did it in combined with, I know nothing about 3D, but I tried to put something together and then combine 2D animation and just some visions in my mind and
Which uni were you at?
It was in Hong Kong. It's a
Right, okay.
creative
Cool.
media in City University of Hong Kong. Yeah. So and then after graduations, I become a graphic designer in the corporate world. I joined the company Fox TV in Hong Kong branch, and we did lots of branding, marketing stuff for National Geographic and Fox Sports, and I did quite a lot of independence for some independent small business, some graphic design, branding stuff. But alongside that, I like illustrations, so I did quite a lot of illustrations work for other clients, some theater shows, and some like the beauty product. You see the labels designed with some illustrations, and I love that. And I did lots of sketches, outdoor, outside, plein air kind of sketch, a lot. And then I ask myself how can I become a better artist, and where can I be a better artist, and where would be a better place for me. And then I saw an opportunity in 2D artists, in Dambuster. So I applied. I thought, it would be nice to have a bunch of artists surrounding me in that environment. I know nothing about game, and I play a little bit with friends, but not like a huge gamer. But I think, yeah, so far I've really enjoyed it. So this is some works I did for DI2. Lots of like 2D works for some, as you can see here, it's like some murals and the map. For different levels, there are more, but yeah, I just pick a few, and some brandings, and yeah, and some icons, logos, yeah, quite a lot of different things. And then after 2 years working in, 2 or 3 years ago, like after working in 2D team, and I start asking myself like, oh, how can I become a better artist? And then I was like, oh, maybe I can like try in concept art, and because yeah, I think it involves slightly different skills, which is I really want to like understand and learn, and also it's like more about like the world building stuff. And so I applied, and here I am, and start doing some like work. Oh, sorry, this is still 2D art, and yeah, also we did some like fun packagings and stuff, and yeah, any kind of things, and it's really good fun to come up with like some weird name for stuff, and people can't really notice, and sometimes you thought, oh yeah, it's a small items, but it's really fun to do those things, like little tiny stuff, but you make it fun. And yeah, I really enjoy doing those. And yeah, and also this is concept art stuff, like some concept thing for the chairs, and I did quite a lot of like prop stuff, and yeah, and some props like you see. This is for house like the DLC, and like the one on the top left corner, like the light. But I was thinking, oh, can we use like human skin as like the lights? Yeah, so lots of like details. Like on the right hand side, that lampshade, the ceramic bit is actually the like brain.
Right. Cool.
I know. Yeah, and yeah, there's like lots of like detailed things you can add into it, and it can be like quite fun for yourself, or
totally.
if the audience knows, it would be like quite fun. And yeah, and that's about it. And now I'm still learning, because like I said, I'm not like having lots of experience in concept art. I'm still learning. So, but yeah, I think it's like a really fun things to do.
Great, some incredible work there. So both of you guys are currently working on the next chapter of the Dead Island sagas. That's right, is it? Or
I don't know how much we can say.
Yeah,
this
that's
is where
all we
the
can really
NDIs
say.
come in.
Yeah, we can.
There's something in the works, but we can't really go into it. So, Paddy, you're the question man.
I am the question man. That's what people call me.
Yeah. Do you want to throw?
Yeah. Before we get on to the actual questions, I wanted to ask Katherine, for the kind of animation work, how long does it take you to work on those kind of like the idle animations and stuff? How much work is that? Because I feel like the students often kind of don't know how long they should allocate to each different task. So I was just wondering how long that would take you.
It kind of varies, really. That's part of the joy of working at Dambuster, is I have a producer saying, okay, you've got this much time to work on this nowadays. But yeah, it really depends on the complexity of the animation. But something more simple like that idle, it might take me, say, a couple of days or so, but that's working full time, obviously, on it. Yep. So as a student, I was working across it sort of like maybe a week or so.
Absolutely. So I guess what I want to ask first is how you came to the role. So obviously we've heard a bit from you about the educational path through stuff, but just like how you came to where you are, what you studied, what other jobs you had beforehand would be really interesting, so that the students can get an idea of like what kind of path you guys took into the industry.
Yeah, do you want me to go first? Yeah. So I studied 2D animation at DMU in Leicester, and it was more of a generalist course, so I did get to do a little bit of 3D animation, but there's also a very big focus on illustration. So after I graduated, immediately the country went into lockdown, which meant that a lot of opportunities sort of disappeared. But I started working for a charity in Liverpool called the Ariel Trust, where I started to do a lot of animated films for them. So that was sort of, I got a lot of creative control over those. I got to work very closely with the people, and I got to hear a lot about how when these films were shown in schools, about the impact that those made. And it was great, and I loved doing it. But my goal always was to get into games, into the games industry as an animator. And there are far less opportunities for 2D animators in video games. So I went back to university and I did a year in 3D animation. That was at Teesside in Middlesbrough, and fell in love with it all over again, really enjoyed it. And after I graduated, I actually did a sort of tangential thing, and I did a research role briefly, which was a menopause VR project, which was also very interesting. But it got to a point where I was like, no, I need to be in games now. And that's when I saw Dambuster had opened up a position for a junior gameplay animator, and the rest is history.
Nice.
So, a couple of things I wanted to dig into there. Like, so what did you do before uni? Were you at college, or did you do A levels?
Yeah, I went to sixth form, and I did A levels. I sort of went down the more traditional route. My school never really had the opportunities like you seem to have here. The idea of going into games was kind of like, oh, games? That's not actually a job. And if it is a job, it's for boys. That was the kind of attitude that there was with that.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I was encouraged by my teachers to go very traditional A-levels. I did English, history, art.
Yeah.
But I was very fortunate that I had such strong family support that I was able to go and check out loads of different courses, non-traditional, sort of like, I didn't want to do fine art. I wanted to do sort of more digital media, and found that animation course.
Great. And then when you landed that job at Dambusters, you know, you sort of said, oh, job came up at Dambusters and the rest is history. But that's kind of, you know, you should be blowing your own trumpet a little bit more, because I'm sure that a lot of people applied for that job. So what was the process like applying for it, and what do you think, this is tricky because people often aren't great at like bigging themselves up, but what do you think it was they saw in you that they made them want to give you that chance?
I think with the games industry, you've probably been in the same position, Q, is that you apply to a lot of roles and you are almost always receiving the, you know, sorry, but, you know, thanks for your application, but. And I had sort of started to take the initiative of messaging the hiring folk on LinkedIn and saying like, hi, you know, I'm looking to apply for this. What kind of things do you like to see in an animator's showreel? And I had somebody get back to me and say, hey, this is the kind of stuff we're looking for. You know, if you want to apply, you know, we'll make sure we have a good look at it. And I applied. I didn't really expect to get much further than that, but I got invited to a first interview. Didn't expect to get much further than that. Got invited to a first person interview. Didn't expect to get much further than that. It was kind of a matter of, I didn't expect to get any further. So I just was kind of letting loose, really, being like, yeah, you know, this is about me. This is what I like to do. Being really open. And I think they like that about me.
Oh, that's great. And again, maybe a really naive question, because I'm not from a games background, but as part of that process, are they almost like technical tests or demonstrations, or do they just go with your show reel and?
I have done tests at other studios, but at Dambuster, it was on the merit of my show reel.
Cool.
Do they use specific in-house software, or is it on a more generalised package?
More generalised, really. I use a day-to-day Maya and Unreal Engine, software like that.
So I suppose that you could have a technical test in that scenario, because I know some studios obviously have their own stuff, so they can't really expect you to have prepared for.
Yeah, I believe programming is probably a discipline that has more of that side of things.
Yeah, I heard some. Yeah, I think I did some tests as well, like for other studio. But yeah, for Dambuster, no, we didn't do like a test.
As an artist, is the test like, are they like draw something?
They give you like a task, like a brief, like sometimes just like, oh, the brief is like quite vague, and you make something up.
To see how you respond to
being
given
the brief,
a more open task. Yeah. So I guess the next question I wanted to ask was about how much freedom you guys actually have when you're doing design work. Because obviously the studio's big, the game is incredibly complicated. Assumedly there's a lot of like people deciding what to do, but also they wouldn't need you as artists if you weren't having some freedom. So, I mean, I assume concept art's probably a little bit more freeform than animation.
It depends on what stage of the project is. Sometimes like you can get like a really open brief and you can be crazy about it, but not saying like the things you did can get approved at the end, but you get more freedom and you're encouraged to explore and think outside of the box, which is nice. But sometimes you do get like really strict, I want this kind of brief, like every single, like lots of like red pen around the things that I want this. It's more like visualize the visions.
So it kind of varies throughout the project.
Yeah. You did like, get some like variations.
Yeah. And Katherine, how specific are the instructor? Are you told like you must make an idle animation which looks like this, or are you like, is it more freeform where you get to give it some personality?
Yeah, there's a lot more freedom with it, I'd say. I mean, animators are actors in and of themselves, really. So having those creative decisions that you can make yourself, rather than relying on somebody who might not necessarily get the minutiae of animation.
Yeah.
No, it's not quite as granular as they're like, nah, you need to move that arm this many degrees to make sure that the character's doing what we want to do. But we do receive designs. I talk to design a lot just to make sure that we're on the same page with things, because, you know, it's got to look good in the game. It's got to work in the game. It's got to feel good for the player.
Collaborative environment.
Oh, 100%.
So, for example, with the lamp concept you came up with the brain base and the skin lampshade, which I love, by the way, was that just a weird idea you had? And they were like, let's roll with it?
Yeah, sometimes you just like, people expect you to like, I don't know, design some trash on the floor.
Yeah.
And you think like, but I think those are good opportunity to put more things, because people might expect less. You might have like a normal lamp or some like normal stuff, but you can come up with something that out of other people's expectation, which is like, I think is quite fun. For that brief specifically, there's no like requirement for that. We just need a lamp.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think with the pieces you were doing for the environment, with the posters and the products and stuff, like it's easy to think that people won't pay attention, but when you look online, it's actually amazing how much attention people are paying to those things. There's always a group of fans who are all like, I analysed this, what do you think it means?
Sometimes they overanalyze.
Yeah.
Like, I saw like some people on Reddit.
It's just a brain. It's cool idea.
Why they do this? Like,
What does the brain lamp mean? And you're like, I know, that'd be fun.
yeah.
That must be nice. So I guess one question that I wanted to ask you guys, and I'm not sure if you're the right people for this, is how beneficial you think it is for people looking to enter into the industry to have degrees. Because obviously you've both said that you both have degrees. I think you hear quite a lot that that portfolio is all that matters. But obviously you do both have degrees. And do you think that was beneficial for you as artists?
Do you want me to take this first? Yeah. For me, I don't think I would be at this point without having gone to university. As much as anything, I feel like I learned a lot about what I actually wanted to do in terms of my career at university. And again, I also did an MA when I went to Teesside, and that's definitely not a requirement to getting into industry at all. But you learn so much at university, more so than you might be able to when you're just sat in front of your own computer screen, sort of trying to take stuff in. Not to say that that isn't a valid way of doing things. I mean, I used a lot of those resources when I was at university to supplement my learning. But the networking side of things is so important. When I went into interview, I initially bonded with the people that I'm now working with, because we'd gone to the same unis, so we could talk about it, see what our experiences were like. But yeah, I feel that was very important for me. But like you said, really, it is the portfolio that is the most important thing. You know, that is the proof of what you can do, you know, your skill set, more so than the actual piece of paper that you get.
Yeah.
If you think about when you got to the end of your degrees, to what extent do you feel that you were prepared for industry? See, that's the answer that I thought we would get.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes our students sort of think, well, they do the 3-year degree, and then at the end of that, they'll be ready, and they put a lot of pressure on themselves to kind of be this finished article by the time they get to the end of a degree level course. Can you talk a little bit about your experiences there?
Yeah, my experience, it's like, I have no idea. I just want to do arts. Like, that's how I feel. Like, I don't know what my career looks like. But I just have a feeling like, we just want to do art. Where can I do arts? Like, that kind of thing. And in Hong Kong, like, we don't have, like, game. Like, concept art is not a thing. Like, no degree talking about, like, working in game, concept art, or... we do have some fine art, but it's more like, I don't know, like theater. It's not like traditional. Like I was like looking up, is there anywhere I can like do? But at the time, I didn't think about. I don't know what I was doing. I just like, I just want to like do some art and find
just
somewhere.
Chasing after something that you were passionate in.
And see like where can I find the things that maybe at that moment I'm interested in and put effort and doing it. And I think that helps me to build my portfolio.
Yeah, one of the things that's nice about university is getting like all that time
portfolio
to work entirely on the thing that you're passionate about, rather than having to do it in your spare time alongside a job.
Yeah, I think university provide you like a space and time. You do something you like, and if you pick the subjects you really like, you can like go for it, and then maybe get some like mentorship support from the university. But like you said earlier, it's or for art side, it's more like your portfolio is what matters, and also like nowadays it's a lot of like online courses. Also, like in our team, like one of our members, he's like brilliant artist. He doesn't have a degree, so I think it's like really depends on like where you get the resources and like where you can find something that you find more inspired to do stuff you like.
And I suppose if you know that you're driven, like if he's not got a degree, I assume he's the kind of person who just can force himself. I guess the biggest question is, do you guys think that your portfolios are better because you'd spent that time at university?
No, I mean like all the portfolio you saw is not from my university.
Oh no, I mean but when you got to the point where you were doing it, do you think that your portfolio was better than it would have been if you hadn't done the degree?
No, I don't know. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think it's like it's like a place I have time to build my portfolio. Yeah,
it's difficult to know, isn't it? Like one of the things, because I talk to students about whether they should go to university a lot, and I'm always like, well, I don't have a frame of reference for what it's like not to have gone to university. So yeah.
But I think that if students are going to university thinking, I do my 3 years, I come out, I'm industry ready.
Yeah.
They're thinking about it wrong. But if they're thinking, well, it gives me 3 more years to think about what I want to do to improve and to have the luxury of some time to get better at this thing, which is really, really hard to find if you're, say, working a bar job full time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and once you've got a job, we're all like, I've got this really exciting personal project I'm definitely going to work on, and then you never manage to give yourself as much time on it.
If you have other stuff doing.
So I also wanted to ask, so like we hear a lot about how big teams are getting, and I know that obviously Dambusters, Dead Island's a AAA franchise. It's, I don't know how big the team is there, but like I wanted to ask about what it's like working in a big team, because there must be quite a lot of people you work with. How many people you work with overall? How many people you work with day to day as well? Like, because theoretically you're in a department of X many people, but I assume you can't all talk to each other all the time. So yeah, like how many? Although as a concept artist, are you primarily working alone or?
Yeah, lonely job. Like no, we work with some designers. We talk to them like to get more information about like the space, and also like we talk to like environment artists. I mainly work on environment, so but for character concept artists, they work closely with the concept character artists, and also our producer. And I work really closely with our art director. Sometimes we do work with like the narrative team as well, like to get more information behind the story. Yeah. So it's like not like interacting like loads of people daily, but you do get the chances like work with like other teams.
What about you, Katherine? How many people are you working with on a daily basis?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat really, talking to lots of different people across lots of different teams. I think everyone desperately goes to design to go, hey, please can you clarify this? What are we doing with this? They're sort of the gods really at Dambuster. But yeah, largely for me, design, very occasionally art, because say we're working with a character rig that, you know, isn't deforming quite the way we want it to, we can go to art and they'll adjust it for us that way. But yeah, within animation itself, the actual department, I mean, we've got motion capture technicians, technical animators, cinematics as well. You know, I'm a gameplay animator. There's loads of us, different disciplines within that. But yeah, we sort of make sure that we are all on the same page really with what we're doing. That's really our lead's job, to make sure that all of our animations are coalescing into one beautiful thing of animation.
But when you're in the on the ground, it's not your job to kind of like be keeping track of all the different moving pieces. You're just kind of doing your part.
Yeah, if I need a quick question asked, you know, from design, I'll message the person in charge of that particular feature and say like, hey, can you clarify this for me? You know, can I send you something and you can look at it? You know, it's very easy to just, you know, talk to people that way with things. Yeah.
Nice.
Do you have a typical working day? And if so, what's it look like?
For animation, there's a lot of reviews. You know, we're showing off our animations to each other sort of formally or informally all the time. And unsurprisingly, most of my day is spent animating. I do keyframe, I do motion capture cleanup, so I'm getting to see both sides of that really. But yeah, largely animating, like I said.
If there's an imbalance, if you do a review and like two things don't match, how do you decide who has to change those?
Usually, let's say I've animated something and I have my lead or the director sort of going like, not super happy with that. They'll give me the feedback and I'll work on it, maybe with a senior animator, because it's, as much as anything, it's part of my learning and development to be able to take a piece of animation that I've done and go, okay, that isn't right, let's correct that. And I'm always testing stuff like actually in engine as well to see how it looks, how it like plays and everything. So I'm actually getting to see, you know, if it's completely like balked before I'm even like presenting it to these people.
I actually wanted to ask, so obviously you've got like quite a lot of third-person animations in your show reel, but obviously Dead Island's first-person. Is the process of making first-person animations different, or you know, are you animating a full character and then just showing it through the character's eyes, or are you just animating the arms in a first-person thing?
First-person and third-person are surprisingly different.
Yeah.
But yeah, third-person, you know, with gameplay, you're having to animate something that the full character from every single angle is looking good. But with first person, you're kind of cheating to camera in a way. It's almost more like the traditional sort of like film animation really, where everything, you know, if you turn the camera one way in a Disney film, suddenly they're all completely broken behind them. But yeah, there's a similar aspect to that with first person.
It's only what's in frame that matters.
It's only what's in frame that matters, really, unless the player changes the FOV, and then I'm really annoyed because that's more work for me.
But whereas I suppose in third person, you can't guarantee that they're not going to be looking at any given angle from any time, even if, you know, during combat, you might just expect it to look at the back of the character. They might turn the camera around, so it needs to be, everything needs to be camera ready.
Yeah, I think in Dead Island 2, it's a good example, actually, of having co-op characters where you can see, you know, your friend might be bashing a zombie's head in and, you know, you might be standing sort of behind them, watching them bash a zombie's head in, or from the side, bashing a zombie's head in. And it's got to look good from both those angles.
Yeah.
Q, can I ask you a question about research?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to, are we able to make sure we have the PowerPoint back up? When you showed us this sort of iterations of a sort of chair type throne design, talk me through what you've got here. Like, are these things at the top inspiration, or is it your own designs?
The top is also my own design, but yeah, I think the top row is more like, we're trying different shapes, and because like I said, like sometimes you get the brief like it's good to have all the freedom, but sometimes it's like the sky's too big and you don't know where to go, and then you have to like put loads of different things. Is it like this? Is it like this? And I guess like sometimes even the so most of the time it's the art director to sign off our work, and yeah, he's also like looking for. There's no absolutely answer for him as well, from him as well. So it's more like of trying different things out and see which one we think we are hitting that directions, and then from that we can take it on, and then we start to like, yeah, have a bit more idea which direction we are going for, and then we, yeah.
And in terms of getting the actual inspiration for each of these different throne designs, was there a lot of research involved there? Were you looking at sort of historical references or?
Yeah, we did do lots of research, but to be fair, our time is like quite limited. We don't have lots of time doing research, so it's only like half day or a day for research, and then you start to like coming something out.
But a lot of this, you're just talented enough to conjure it directly from your brain.
I do gather lots of reference and stuff, and then you just like trying to like
And I suppose if you're asked to make the same kinds of things multiple times, then I suppose that the research will probably diminish over time, because you're like, yeah, I've made one of those.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Should we take a student question?
I think they're trying to push us to take student questions.
Yeah,
I really wanted to ask the AI question.
We can come back to those questions.
Okay, cool.
It's fine. So Gabriel Randall, probably actually his real name. We don't get that very often. Do you prefer a more rigid set brief or one with more creative freedom? Let's start with you, Katherine.
Oh, that's a good one, actually. I think having a best of both worlds, really. I don't want to be just given a brief which is do what you want, because it's so non-specific. But having some sort of guidelines in place for what you want to do, like an idea. That's where design's really helpful, because they'll have like their initial wants for the animation. But yeah, I'd say sort of a nice middle ground, really. Yeah,
I agree with Katherine. I think it's like sometimes if you get like an empty room, it's like, oh, that's quite like it's fun. You can do lots of like crazy ideas, but like most of them they won't get picked.
Yeah.
So you sort of like working within the boundary and get that freedom is kind of nice as well. Like a little bit of the boundary, and then you work within that boundary to get the freedom.
Do you ever throw out something that you think won't get picked and then it does?
Yeah. Sometimes, like sometimes when we like present something to art director, it's like, oh, this is good. Yeah, cool. And we're like, okay, that's it. You'll be surprised. Like, oh, that's quick.
So Lee's got a question for you, Q. What advice would you give to artists who want to get into the concept art industry?
Draw more. Draw more. Like
just keep drawing, man.
Keep drawing and learn more different skills. We use lots of like Photoshops, but I think fundamental is like the key. But we do have like 3D, like we use 3D as well to help to speed up the process. Blender, most of the time we use, but you can like, knowing like other software as well, like 3D code. Some people use Marvelous, I don't remember, it's more for character art.
For
the character.
Yeah.
Yes, I think there's like quite lots of like online tutorial. You can learn some like new skills from the people from the industry, which is really helpful.
Do you think having traditional art fundamentals, figure drawing and that kind of thing is important for all artists, or?
I do feel like that. Sometimes I feel like it's like if you're a poet, you probably want to learn the language, and you understand the language, you learn the language, and then you can create from that. Yeah.
One for you, Katherine, I think, really, because this is from Vigo Laborica. How transferable are 2D animation skills into 3D animation skills?
Do you know what? I was asked a very similar question in my interview. 2D animation, you are drawing every single frame. With 3D animation, you're not having to animate, create a pose, for every single frame, because The computer will fill in those in-betweens for you. But having those skills in 2D, you know, you're tailoring every single frame to make it look good, make it look how you want it to be. I feel like some like initial animators, when they're learning 3D, they'll plug in their key poses and be like, okay, well, Maya's going to do it for me, Blender's going to do the other poses for me. And you need to be able to do those breakdowns and some additional in-betweens to make it flow, to make it look good. So I feel like having those 2D animation skills are very transferable in that respect. And also I do a lot of draw-overs on my own animation, on my colleagues' animations, and having just those solid drawing skills where I can just quickly sketch out a design, sketch out thumbnails. I have had some of my colleagues go like, oh, that's a really nice drawing you've got there. And it's just like a very quick sketch out of a figure that I'm trying to like visualize what the pose will look like before I've even opened up the software.
And traditional animation fundamentals from like 2D animation, squash and stretch and stuff,
Yeah.
are they still applicable in 3D?
Yeah, very much so. Obviously, it depends really on if you're going for something more realistic, if you're going for something more cartoony, but they still apply just in a slightly different way. You know, if you're having a person jumping, you don't have the traditional cartoony, you know, squash and stretch type stuff, but the squash and stretch of the actual body, you know, the hips coming down, the body coming down, those sorts of things as well. I think there's a book by Jonathan Cooper called Game Anim, which I highly recommend. It's so good. He has his own contents of the 3D game animation principles, which are really helpful.
Like a 3D version of the Animator Survival Guide?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. I'd say it's gold standard if you want to do game animation.
Excellent. Find a link for that.
So what's the biggest project you guys have worked on?
Dead Island?
That's probably also the longest project you've worked on as well, right?
Yes.
So should we talk a little bit about what that's like, working on such a long project? Are there kind of moments where it's more exciting or less exciting? Are there moments where motivation can slip a little? Or what are the advantages and disadvantages of big, long projects?
You'd be surprised sometimes. Like, I think, like, for me, like, doing the concepts, like, because we have so many districts, and each district you have like different architecture, different build, like inside the architecture have like different rooms, and there's a lot of things you can design. And each room they have like different characters. I mean, like different kind of shops and different kind of environments you can design. So each one can be quite new. Like you get the task like, oh, I haven't done this before, and then I was like, oh, this is quite nice. And so even though it's like a long project, I get like quite lots of like different new things inside, if that makes sense.
And there's still concept art being done all the way through. It's not like you're doing concept art in the start and then they're all like, right, well, you're done now. There's always more stuff.
Yeah, there's more.
On.
Yeah, because like we at the beginning we do some like blue skies, like more like of defining like how does the different district look like, and then we did lots of like sketches and artwork for that. And then once they designed, and then we can like do it again, like with like but more precise. And then after that, and then it's more like full productions. How does it actually look like? Yeah.
So did you guys both work on Dead Island 2, is it?
I didn't know,
didn't
but I did play it.
Well, whatever this mysterious project that you're working on is, how long have you guys been at that?
I don't think we can say, can we?
I imagine since the release of Dead Island 2's DLC would be my guess. Educated guess. I'm not asking you guys to confirm or deny. I'm just.
But so what are the time frames on a AAA game typically? How long does it take from production to release? Do you guys have?
You can tell John.
Yeah.
You can tell John's
A
got
long
games,
time.
Long time. Yeah.
Well, also they don't. You never know.
No,
Sometimes, sometimes projects get announced and they take 15 years, and other times things just come out of nowhere and it's like a couple of years turnaround because it's gone well. Like, I don't think even when they're midway through development on big games, they're really 100% sure how much longer it's going to take.
I mean, look at something like GTA 6, you know, that's just been like delayed again or whatever. I think actually Cyberpunk's a really good example. Was that announced like a decade prior to actually coming out?
Although I think that they didn't actually have any work on it. I think they announced it and showed like a trailer, and then that was all that they had for years, and then they came back around. I think that happens quite often, like with the Elder Scrolls 6, they showed that trailer and people are like, oh, it's been in development for 16 years or whatever, but it's like, they've been working on other stuff. They just told us that it existed. But yeah, like the games, are you concerned about how long the projects are getting, like in terms of like how much commitment that is for you to one thing?
That's interesting. I mean, prior to working at Dambuster, I was working on sort of lots of short projects, one after the other, and their turnaround was sort of like maybe a maximum of 4 months each. So being able to focus on something that's a bit longer term, you know, is quite an interesting change, to be honest. It's quite nice in that respect. That's my perspective anyway.
I think you're coming from graphic design. I suppose you must have been in an environment before where you were doing a lot of like shorter things. Is it? Is it like a big adjustment working on such long projects?
It is a little bit, yeah. I think, I think it's for me, it's more like talking about the projects to other people, that kind of side. You do, because when you're working inside the studio, you can still see your stuff being implemented inside the game. So, I don't get that feeling, so, I can't see my works in there. But it's more like, talking to other people or show my works to other people.
Do you guys do much work that doesn't end up in the game? Because obviously,
a lot.
Like lots of stuff.
A lot.
But
and I'm guessing that's kind of like not your intellectual property, so you can't be like, oh, well, I'll just use that for something else then.
No, we can't use it. But I think like after project release, but we still need to get the approval whether or not we can show that particular.
Yeah, you can use it in your portfolio or whatever. So the question that I do want to ask, because I know that it's something that's very prevalent, is how you guys feel about the impact of AI on your job roles, and if you're scared of it or if you use it as a tool, or like...
If I'm saying like I'm not afraid, I think you'll be a lie. It is like quite scary when you like start seeing stuff being made, and but I did try some of them, but some of them it can't really make what I'm thinking. I think it takes longer if I just use Photoshop to do it. It'll be quicker than I just like putting all the commands and do all sorts of stuff. But maybe one day you'll catch up. But I think I think it's instead of like avoiding it, I think it would be nice to like maybe you can like put it into your workflow, and then maybe you can start using it. How to use it as like a tool. But you still have your artistic thinking, and then help you to speed up some of the process. That will be quite helpful. That's how I feel about AI.
Katherine, are there any tools that impact your job yet? Or I don't think I've seen any AI well, I guess the tweening and stuff in Maya is already kind of like a semi-automated process, isn't it? But
I feel like actual AI tools for 3D animation, from what I've seen, you know, yes, they can create an animation, but is it a good animation? Is it an animation that's actually going to work in game? Because some of the tools that I use, they're made by people, and they're brilliant. I've not seen anything comparable sort of in the AI space really with that. So I wouldn't say I'm too afraid of it. On the 2D animation side, I got some stronger feelings, but...
I mean, I think something that's come out of the conversations we've been having this week about AI is one of the massive issues with it. There are many, but one of the massive issues with it is it's kind of almost fundamentally designed to just give you the middle ground, you know, just sort of aggregate what everything is, and not do it with personality, not do it with character, not do it with humanity.
Well, and it can't do anything that's not been done before. Obviously, like it can't generate anything that it hasn't already seen. So I suppose that, I guess the main concern is like, you know, whether or not there are companies that are willing to take that lower common, because I feel the same about ChatGPT, where I'm always just all like, I feel like I could write this faster than it's taking me to edit what it's given me. But if people are willing to accept the unedited text, then that's the worry, I guess.
So, I mean, we actually are coming across quite a lot of students who are quite anti-AI, actually, which is interesting. Do you think that will have any influence on how studios use or don't use AI? Do you think people will sort of a backlash?
I think so. I think a good example recently was Expedition 33, you know, really highly praised, everyone talking about it. And there was one bit of info that they'd used an AI generated texture on something, and suddenly people were sort of like turning against them.
Yeah.
I feel like it's such a controversial thing. I mean, I'll be completely honest, I'm anti-AI as well. I don't use anything like ChatGPT. I don't use Gen AI tools personally or for work. So that's sort of my feeling on it, really.
Yeah.
Stop slouching, Patrick.
Sorry, I'm slouching the wrong direction. I don't know what the hand signals mean. I've never been in here before. Yeah, I think AI is repulsive. It sickens me.
I mean, it's funny because, like, so obviously I'm not from a games background, but I do a lot of video editing, and and use Photoshop a lot as well. And there's certain tasks which were really boring tasks to do.
I think, you
that
can
are suddenly
dedicate.
much quicker. You know, whether it's like you used to have to frame by frame track mat out a number plate if you needed to blur it, and now you just press a button and it's done. And nothing about that process was creative or enjoyable. And that's kind of, to me, seems like quite a valid use of it. Like, I can just get rid of this thing that was just slowing down how long it was taking me to produce my documentary, you know? But yeah, on a general level, as soon as it gets into stuff which is about ideation, creativity, expression, personality, it's like, oh, get it out of here.
Yeah. So I don't think it's capable of making anything particularly interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
Whoever's on the auto cue appears to be drunk.
this is really sliding
This
up
is
and
the
down there.
worst auto cue.
You're like, that's just a comment. That's not a question.
Yeah. Do we have any more questions, drunk person on the auto cue?
Here we go. Okay. Do you prefer to do more stylized or more realistic work? That's a good question.
I like both. Yeah, I like both. I think prefer. I think now, like, because I work in like the island for quite a while, maybe realistic, but maybe at some point I was like, I want to like do more stylized stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you worry that, like, I guess what I always think is, do you worry that if it's heavily realistic that it will age badly? I suppose because, like, I think when you look at games from 15 years ago that were cutting edge photorealistic games, then now they look weird. I think of Heavy Rain a lot, which I remember people showing as this like high watermark for realistic graphics, and like it looks really weird.
It's actually where I lost my interest in gaming, really. You know, I gamed when I was a kid and in my teens, but showing my age, this was sort of like when PlayStation came along and what have you. There was this sudden move, it was all towards sort of realism, and it just took a lot of the magic out of it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I like cel shading.
Yeah. Do you guys play games, and do you need to play games to work in the games industry?
I think I'm a good example. I don't really play a lot of games, but I used to play quite a few with friends in the free time. But
Has working in the industry inspired you to try it, or has it put you off?
I mean, like, working in the industry, they don't require you to play games.
Yeah.
Like, they don't really. It's not like the first thing, but it's nice to inspire by other like games. So if you have time, you can play some of them and get some inspiration. Oh, look at that! It's cool. Like, yeah. But I watched quite a lot of like game like walkthrough, that kind of videos. I don't have time to play.
So you have some idea of
Yeah.
the environment.
I think that's quite important because, as well as our games design students, we've got students on the animation course, students who are doing illustration, and I think it's kind of important for them to realise that they don't need to be an obsessive gamer to end up in the games industry. No. Those skills in illustration and animation could still hold them in good stead to enter into.
I think it's yeah.
But you seem like you're more of a gamer.
Yeah, I play games. Though, to be fair, making games does mean that you have less time to play games, which is the thing they don't tell you about working in games.
And you also get home at the end of the day and you're like, I can't look at any more games.
I'm like, oh God, not another
Sit
video game.
outside under a tree or something.
A bit like a busman's holiday, really, you know? But no, I do enjoy playing games. I don't play them as much as I used to. But no, I like to play a bit of everything, really. I do get really drawn to like the indie ones and the sort of like single player narrative experience type ones. I'm always really into them.
Do you have any ambitions to work on smaller indie games, produce your own games, or in a small, with that other end of the game creation experience?
Maybe one day. I mean, I've done game jams before when I was at university, and that was always really nice, working in a really small team, and you get to do a bit of everything. I was saying about, you've got cinematic animators, gameplay, technical. You kind of become all of those at the same time in an indie space. But no, maybe in the future it'd be something quite fun to do.
Do you have like a dream? Would you like to be, if you could do anything and you had like infinite budget, what would you do? Would you like...
Even like,
as an artist, if you had a wealthy patron, if Lord Byron came to you and was all like, I'm going to fund your artistic endeavours for the next year, what would you do?
I don't know, lots of like art projects and like quite a lot of like experiment, I guess.
Yeah,
like
the freedom to...
the freedom of being crazy and just like create something, and probably other people don't understand like, what is this? I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, a whole world of skin lamps.
Yeah, it's like I'm building the world.
You're clearly someone who's really imaginative. From your from the work you shared with us, you got these imaginative ideas. Some might say quite kind of quirky or weird ideas at times. But do you think that I'm calling you a weirdo basically?
Yeah,
but do you think that being a bit of a weirdo actually helps in this industry?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think it's more like being honest to yourself. Like, do something you're passionate about. I know it's like a bit like cliche, but it's really like that spark your passions and ideas. Like, people can feel that when you do something that you like it, and then you do more, and it's not for any other people or like the portfolio, not just building to like get into the industry. And we got like loads of portfolio apply for our team sometimes, and then you can feel like, there's like lots of quite similar.
Yeah, you get like an idea of what they like and what they're interested
in.
Yeah,
but some of them you can, those stand out. It's like you can feel it's more themselves. Like you can see like they do some works. It's more like you can feel it's like have their own character, personality, that kind of things. That would stand out a bit more. So I do feel like doing some like project you really like, and that helps.
I feel like a lot of the backlash to the way that people are responding to AI is very similar to how people respond to things that are very corporate.
Yeah,
like when it's been made by committee and it doesn't have the touch of a real person's ideas behind it.
And you feel the similarity within those AI work, I guess. Yeah.
I've got a student question which might fall
They're not going to know the answer.
Yeah, I'm going to ask it for Oliver though.
This is an insane question.
I love this question. Why is your studio called Dambusters? Is it influenced by the mission in World War II by Lancaster bombers to destroy German dams, known by the same name?
Yeah, it's a good question actually.
I'm going to bring it back to the studio and ask people, do they know that?
Yeah, let's find out.
Yeah, let's find out.
So, like, I know that obviously Dambuster was Crytek UK before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And before that, it was Free Radical, which was a bunch of people who left Rare. So, like, the legacy of the studio goes back to like GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. But I assume that there's none of those people there now. Or
I know. Yeah, some people in the studio still there.
So people who've been there throughout that whole thing, who worked on N64 games and are still there.
Yeah, I've spoken to people who have been there like 15 years, 18 years.
It's really cool.
Very long time. Yeah.
Do they talk about like the old projects from the old days, or are you always focused on what's next?
Not so much really. I feel there's always that, looking to what we're working on currently. But also it's great to be able to just ask somebody like, hey, what was it like working on this game, and getting an answer like back, rather than like an answer that's sort of hidden behind lots of NDAs.
Yeah, like the Time Splitters team, I guess, will be there because they did that, I think.
I'm going to have to ask people now when we get back. I got questions for them.
Yeah, and
Home Crisis.
No, Time Splitters is it's the team who made GoldenEye and Perfect Dark after
Right,
they left Rare, and then they made Time Splitters, and then I think Crytek UK did Crysis 2 and 3 at the same studio that's there now, and then Dambuster's first thing was Homefront.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Homefront: The Revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, of the software that you use, what's your favourite and why?
Photoshop for me, just easy. You've got a pen and just like do stuff, and yeah, Photoshop for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't use Krita or any of those, because I know there's a lot of newer drawing programs which are supposedly much better for artists and wonderful, but I'm just like, you may as well just learn Photoshop.
Yeah, I'm more like Photoshop person.
Everywhere I've ever worked, when I did some graphic design stuff, everywhere I've ever worked professionally, it's just like, hey, do you know Photoshop? And if the answer is no, they're all like, well, you should know Photoshop.
Yeah.
What about you, Catherine?
I feel like if I don't say Maya, I'll go back to work and Maya will know that I've not said Maya and just crash immediately. But no, I use Maya so much. You know, it's almost like an extension of me when I'm animating. But yeah, I know a lot of people will learn Blender and use Blender. I didn't actually know we use Blender at work for some things. In animation, we use exclusively Maya. And really, I don't really know too many sort of like places that actually use Blender sort of like too professionally. There's always Maya in some.
It's mostly indie, isn't it? I think
Yeah.
for Blender because it's free.
Yeah.
Because like we teach Blender here mainly because
Yeah.
we don't want the software to be out of reach of the students financially.
Yeah.
But I assume at university they'll transition you into whatever's industry appropriate.
Yeah, at university I learned how to use Maya, and I think Maya, they used to have a 3-year license. They've changed it to 1 year now, which I feel, you know, they should be taking a leaf out of Blender's book really and making it more accessible, because if people are using Maya in industry, they should be able to practice in it.
I don't understand why more companies don't do the Unreal model where it's free until you earn money and then you have to give them some of the money, because that feels like it creates like a pipeline of artists into it, and then, you know, if they make money you get some money, and if they never make money then, you know, they're not stealing from you.
Yeah, 100%. I think Unreal Engine is like the dominant engine in game dev at the moment, like by quite a wide margin.
So we're coming up to the end of our time, but might squeeze one or even two questions in. Liam in the gallery, who's possibly the drunk man on auto cue, I'm not sure. He asks, how do you think the games industry will look in 5 years? And do you guys feel like you'll still be doing what you're doing now? Or will things have changed? Or will you have decided to move on?
Probably still be working on the same project.
But probably still working in the secret. In the secret. In 5 years, I think, I don't know. People still play games. I think, like just like maybe some new tools invented, and like you probably working with different tools and how to implement into it and to make the better game. I guess,
5 years isn't that long in games.
Yeah, I think I can see there being like a really big rise in the, what's the word? Is it like AA for games like Expedition 33? Games like that have really shook up the industry, I feel. So I can see a lot more studios sort of working on games like that. I think another good example is Hazelight's games, like Split Fiction, because they're also at a similar price point, because games are expensive and they're expensive to make. So having sort of like shorter turnaround, maybe cheaper games, maybe we might see a bit more of that. But I mean, personally, I still want to be doing animation. So that's where I'd want to be in 5 years.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like they can't keep on, the budgets and lengths of time can't keep on going on forever, because then you'll get to a point where it's all like Rockstar can't take 40 years to make a GTA game.
I want to know how much they're going to make making GTA 6 and how much it's actually cost.
I'm assuming they'll make all the money back in like 2 days.
Honestly, everyone on the planet's going to be like buying it, I swear.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so long as well. Like I remember telling my son that he couldn't watch me play GTA 5 when it came out because he was only like 6 at the time, and now he's like 20.
Oh my God.
But he has no interest in GTA because there's not been one in the time he's been alive. He's just like, he's not really fussed about it because like, I think that's kind of interesting that like when I was a kid, you know, I would play 2, 3 of the same game over a couple of years. I was playing Resident Evil 2 and then the next year I was playing Resident Evil 3, whereas like now the length of time between those AAA entries is like a childhood.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if maybe that'll impact. I think that's probably part of the reason why younger gamers like, you know, Five Nights at Freddy's or whatever else, because they come out more frequently and they get to play them more often, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're just about out of time then. Thank you so much for coming in, guys. I hope that wasn't too weird or nerve-wracking. You guys were great. It was really, really good talking to you. Loads of amazing insights.
You were wonderful too, John.
Thanks, and you were all right.
Yeah. I've never done it before.
So tomorrow, that's it for today. We've got a really busy day tomorrow. Tomorrow is our International Women's Day celebration. International Women's Day is actually on Sunday, but this was the closest we could get. I didn't fancy coming to work on a Sunday, and I figured you probably didn't want to watch from home on a Sunday either. So we've got 4 guests tomorrow. In the morning, we've got a BBC double bill with Sophie Wielden and Corazon Garcia. Then at 2 o'clock, we have a roundtable discussion with Paddy here and 4 incredible women from Dambusters, again, who are going to be talking about what they do, but maybe with slight bit more focus as well on the experience of being a woman in the games industry, which we didn't actually really touch on, but I imagine you would probably have quite a lot to say, hadn't we? Yeah. And then we're finishing off with Emma Gray, who is a writer and director, so that will be really, really cool. So that's kicking off from 10 o'clock tomorrow. Thanks for joining us today, and we will see you in the morning. See you later. Oh, sorry. It's at 2 o'clock. I completely forgot. We're done with the live stuff in the studio, but we have a 2 p.m. online Teams one with your host Liam Shepherd, who is much better at hosting than he is at operating an auto queue. It's going to be talking
okay
to
now, John.
Yeah,
so, you know.
Who's going to be talking to Jamie Craven, who works in digital marketing, worked with some massive brands. That'll be really, really good, and that is at 2 p.m. All right, see you later.